All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our second workshop. This is Everlasting Word Church's seventh annual Black Wealth Empowerment series. In today's workshop, the second one, we'll be talking about estate planning, and we have Attorney Williams who will be joining us. So excited to have her and to give us her expertise. Please, this is an interactive presentation, so she does welcome, even though I'm saying it for her, but I'm sure she would have said the same thing. She welcomes questions as she's presenting, and you guys, I mean, this is the time to get that information. So please feel free to ask those questions. If in the chat, if there's questions, we do have our wonderful tech person who is monitoring the chat. He's amazing. Everybody, let's give it up for the amazing. He's doing a great job. So, and at that, attorney, please come up, introduce yourself, give us a little bit of background about you, adjust the microphone as needed, and take it away. Thank you. Your water's right there.
Okay, thank you. All right, here we go. Boom.
There you go.
All right. Just a little bit taller. All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I'm attorney Kathy Evans Williams, and I'm the managing attorney of the Evans Williams Law Group. This year is my 30th year anniversary of practicing law.
Wow.
Congratulations.
30 years. So I am blessed, you know, and highly favored, really.
Yes.
So I thank you guys for inviting me to come out here and talk about something that is so near and dear to my heart, which is estate planning. Because what I realize is that oftentimes we don't do what we need to do while we are alive. And so then when we pass away, we leave a lot of drama. Right? And so what I want to do is prevent that. I want to give you some tools and resources that empower you to do something different.
Right.
Okay, so that the work that you've done during your lifetime actually becomes something that you can now leave a legacy instead of some drama. Okay?
Right, yeah.
All right, so I am going to shout out to my husband. Thank you for driving out here. And my grandson. His little smiles. All right, and that's what we do it for, right? Because we want to make sure that getting up every day, even when we don't want to get up every day, and working every day and doing what we do, that it actually means something.
Right. Yes.
Right. All right. So let's just go ahead and get started. One of the things that I want to make sure you understand is what is estate planning? You know, why is it so important? Why do we need to do that? So, like why? Exactly. I'm going to enjoy it. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, as it relates to estate planning, you know, you want to, let's see. Here we go. There we go. Plan for your future. And you also want to protect your investment by considering estate planning options, right? So we're talking about specifically, you guys wanted me to talk about homes and how you can preserve your home.
Absolutely.
So when you're talking about, let's say you just purchased your home or you inherited a home, what you want to do is you want to make sure that it continues, right? And it works for you. All right. So what is estate planning? Estate planning is the process to plan for certain death and the possibility of mental incapacity. Because one thing that we know for sure is that nobody is getting out of here alive. We don't like to think about it. And because we don't like to think about it, oftentimes we don't plan for it. But that doesn't mean it won't happen. And so we can go into it having a plan or go into it without having a plan. But we're going to go into it. All right. And so estate planning is not just between you and your family, because you want to reach out to professionals who can help you create the plan that you want. So you'll talk to accountants, you'll talk to attorneys, you'll talk to financial advisors. You know, you'll talk to your insurance person. You'll make sure that you have all of your information together so that when you come to the attorney, we can help create the plan for you. Okay. In addition, it establishes direction for your family. So oftentimes when you pass away, right, we are now of that age. We have, you know, had people who have passed away that were dear to us. And you know, you could tell the difference when you go to that home going, whether or not it was planned, whether or not they're passing the plate or there's a GoFundMe.
All right.
You know, whether or not people are trying to rush home to make sure the doors are locked because so and so who wasn't really a good child is going to race home to get whatever it was. We know that stuff, right? So you want to make sure that you leave a plan, because sometimes our families want to do the right thing, but we just don't know what that right thing is. And so if we have some stuff that we've worked for, we want to make sure that, for example, I want my grandson to have something in particular. I want my granddaughter to have something in particular. I want my daughter to have something in particular. You put it in writing so that it's not just, I think this is what she said. Okay, I think this is what he meant. Okay, so it has to be in writing. And then the other thing about estate planning is there's two things. One is what happens to my stuff when I pass away. But the other thing is, what if I'm still here, but I can't manage my own affairs? Who has the legal authority to talk to the doctors for me? Who has the legal authority to manage my finances? Everybody in here needs a power of attorney for property and a power of attorney for health care. Period. If you're 18, older, you need it. And you want to start thinking about that too as you have college-aged kids, right? Because in the event that they have to wind up going to the doctor or something like that and they're away at college, they're an adult. They don't necessarily, the hospitals don't necessarily have to share the information with you. And so that's something else to think about.
What if you have children, you're married, but your spouse is not the parent of the child? How does that work with
Blended
estate, blended families with the estate planning? How does that work?
Yeah, so and we're going to get into
Oh,
a
okay.
lot of
All right.
stuff,
Okay.
and that's,
Okay.
I do like the interaction,
Okay.
but a lot of it is I'm laying the groundwork,
Okay.
and then I'm building it,
Okay.
and then we'll have questions after. It's kind of like a cake, right?
Okay.
You're going to see what it looks like after it's done.
All right.
Okay. All right. But then in the meantime, you know,
Okay.
you can. But certainly, estate planning is critical for blended families.
Okay. All right.
Critical.
Okay.
And I'll give you some examples.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
All right. Great question. All right. So now some of the tools that you can use as we talk about estate planning. Testamentary will. Everybody's heard of a will,
Yes.
right? There's also something called a transfer on death instrument. We're going to get into that. A land trust. A living trust. And then, as I mentioned, the powers of attorney. So powers of attorney for health care and power of attorney for property. All right, let's get into it. As it relates to the first thing, a testamentary will. That's that document that says, this is what I have, and when I pass away, this is who I want you to give it to.
Okay.
It also allows you to name a beneficiary, or a guardian rather, for your minor child, or for your adult child with special needs. Right? So a will is great, right? It says this is what I have and this is who I want to give it to. You have to be at least 18 years old to create your will, and you have to be of sound mind. I'm going to stay there for 1 second. I think it's probably once a week that I have someone either call in or come in, and they are no longer capable of maintaining their own affairs. And they're coming in because their child or grandchild or spouse has realized that someone needs to get their affairs in order. Maybe the doctor has said get their affairs in order. And so when you wait, what you're doing is trying to think about, am I going to have enough capacity in 5 years, in 7 years, next week, to be able to navigate all of the documents that are going to be legal documents that you must have mental capacity to be able to navigate? So the time to do your estate plan is not then. It's now. It's not later, because that might be too late. So I just needed to stress that, because that's real. That happens a lot. And what's happening is the baby boomers now are old enough where we're passing away, and we recognize health is not a given. We recognize that, wait a minute, I might have more years behind me than I do in front of me. So let me go ahead and get this together. And that's great. But sometimes it's the family members who are saying, go ahead and get your stuff together because... Now let me tell you one more thing if you wait too late. You do become more vulnerable to your surroundings. And I know we're in a church, and I get it, and I love God and the whole thing. But some children don't treat their parents the way you think they should.
Okay. Yep.
Some family members don't treat each other the way that we think we should. And so if you're elderly and you're vulnerable and you have somebody that is closest to you that might not have your best interest at heart, you've created a problem for yourself.
Wow.
All right, just
Wow.
keeping it real.
No, that's
So
real. Yeah.
a will is okay, but a will can also be contested. So in the event you say, all right, I have 3 children, and I love all 3 children the same. But one child is excellent with money. The other child is excellent with taking care of people, but they really are not great with money.
Right.
And the other child, suffers from addiction. Whether it's drugs or alcohol or just spending or whatever it is, you have real people in your life.
Right.
So everybody's not a cookie cutter.
Right.
So when it comes to creating your estate plan, you have to think about who is in your family and who you want to make sure is taken care of, right? And who's going to take care of you. And not just who you think that person is, but who they really are. And who they really are is that really going to serve you in the capacity. So I'll get into it a little bit more. So with a will, you can say, I do have 3 children. 2 of them I want to leave something to. 1 of them I do not. And so they can choose to say, well, I don't agree with that. I want to contest that. And they will contest that in probate. How many of you guys have heard of probate before? Is it a fast process?
Not for our state, right? Or it doesn't matter what state.
It is. I'm only barred now here in Illinois, so I'm only going to speak about Illinois,
Okay.
and it is not a fast process in Illinois.
Got you.
Okay? And it also costs a lot, not just monetarily, but when you're in court and you recognize that what you're there for is being reduced to money, the love that mommy had for you, or whatever you and your little sister fought about 25 years ago, right? None of that is relevant.
Oh.
Right? So when you're in court, it's a whole nother level. So probate is not just about financially being costly, but it's emotionally costly as well. And it's the process by which the court determines whether or not what you put in writing is valid, or if you did not put anything in writing, they instruct you as it relates to how your assets are going to be distributed.
Wow.
Okay? And in Illinois, the probate process has to be at least 6 months.
Wow.
And they give us like a 12 to 14 month date when we open up a case. So they know it's not going to happen right away. Right. So probate is not necessarily what you want to do. And so a lot of the time I get the question, well, how can I avoid probate? Because it doesn't sound like something I want to do. So how can I stay out of there, right? How can I make sure my family doesn't have to worry about that? First thing I will tell you is take advantage of every single one of your transfer on death instruments. So what is a transfer on death instrument? For example, it is a bank account that allows you to name a beneficiary who will receive funds when you pass away. How many of you have named a beneficiary on your bank accounts? Most people don't, because they don't make you do it when you open up a bank account.
Right. Don't even think about
You don't even think about it. You're talking about putting money in. But really you want to think about, okay, if I were to pass away, where's the money going to go?
Yep.
So for free, everybody should go to the bank Monday,
Okay.
Right.
unless you have some more time left today, and name a beneficiary on every one of your accounts.
Okay. Thank you.
Your checking, your savings, and then I like to say, you want to think in levels of 2. Because none of us know the day or the hour.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
And so if we name one person and that person passes away, we're still in the same boat.
Yeah.
So we always want to think in levels of 2. First person, if that person can't do it or chooses not to or doesn't want to or has passed away, then who? Always levels of 2. So you want to do that not only with your bank account, but you want to do that with your investments. Okay? And you can also do that with your life insurance. Now, typically, we always name a beneficiary on our life insurance because that's why we go get it.
Right.
So we don't necessarily have the same challenge without having a beneficiary, but the challenge that we may have with life insurance is that the person that we named has passed away. Or I put my husband, and maybe I'm not married anymore, right? And so, but I am. I'm gonna be married
Right.
forever. Right. Just as an example, okay?
Right.
Just as an example, right? And so, think about all of your life insurance policies that maybe you had at your old job, right? So you want to go and do an inventory and make sure that every person that you've named is still the person you want there, first of all, because your relationship may have changed, and that person is still alive and that person is still of sound mind, okay? Because you don't want to put something in place that is going to give a large lump sum of money to someone who doesn't have the capacity to manage it. There's certainly a way to still provide those funds, but you don't want to do it in a way that is going to interrupt any government benefits that they're receiving.
Right.
Right? All right. So, for free, Transfer on Death Instruments allows you to name a beneficiary on it. Bank accounts, life insurance, investments, and one of the really great things is your house. So you can actually name a beneficiary on your house.
Really?
That's called a transfer on death deed.
Oh.
Yes. Hey, I love it. All right. Yes. And that doesn't cost a whole lot of money, but it can save a whole lot of drama.
Okay.
And it also can help save communities. Because when you walk around, some of these boarded up houses are because the house was just left. And maybe it was left to perhaps a child who didn't value the home, who didn't pay the taxes, didn't pay the insurance, didn't pay the little mortgage that was left or whatever it is.
Right.
And now the property is in foreclosure. Now it's in disrepair.
Yep.
Now we have a community that is suffering because of that blight.
Yep.
So not only is doing estate planning good for you, it's good for your community as well. And I love how you were mentioning that this is a big community, you know, family related, friends related, that is all part of the community.
Absolutely.
So the transfer on death deed allows you to name a beneficiary on your home. That's the takeaway. Now, the next thing would be talking about a trust. So a trust is a fiduciary arrangement that allows the third party or trustee to hold assets on behalf of a beneficiary or beneficiaries. And trust can be arranged in many ways and can specify exactly how and when the assets pass to the beneficiaries. So the big thing about a trust is that no court is involved. You are able to establish what you want and then have it transferred to whom you want to receive it without court involvement. All right. So as it relates to trust, there are different kinds. One is called a land trust. And a land trust is kind of like what it sounds like. It's a trust for land. It allows you to hire a trustee like Marquette Bank or Chicago Title, and they hold your property. And you have created an instruction that says, when I pass away, I want my property to go to X. That kind of sounds like the transfer on death deed, right? Where we've named a beneficiary on the house.
Right.
And so the difference between the transfer on death deed and the land trust is that you no longer own the property. The trust company owns the property. So if someone wants to sue you, they're going to have to get through the trust company to place a lien on the home.
Okay.
And the way that they would do that is they have to ask the court to do that.
Oh.
And so now we're adding an extra step for people. Yes. And oftentimes, you know, if they want to sue you for $750, they might not spend $2,500 to place a $750 lien on your property. Okay? So a land trust is a good opportunity for asset protection. It is not 100% asset protection because you still own it. And the court can make you remove the property from trust so a lien can be placed on it or even liquidate the property. So it's not 100% asset protection, but it is a good layer. Yes.
That would be more of a good idea if the property doesn't have any liens against it or anything like that. Correct? That would be more of that ideal situation.
Sure. I mean, you never want any of your property to have any liens.
True.
Right.
But I think too, But thinking of a home, and like say if later if you wanted to participate in a grant for rehab or something like that, but with it being in the trust, then it becomes a little more difficult or something like that. Then on that case, then.
So not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
So what I will do is tell you that there are two major umbrellas as it relates to trusts.
Okay.
One is called a revocable trust,
Okay.
and the other is called an irrevocable trust.
Okay.
A revocable trust allows you to still maintain control.
Okay. Okay.
And so all of the assets within that trust are still yours.
Okay.
If you had to qualify for Medicaid, they could look at your trust assets and say, what else do you have in there?
Okay.
An irrevocable trust is the trust that allows you to qualify for Medicaid
Okay.
if you need to,
Okay.
because any asset that's within that trust is no longer considered yours.
Oh, okay.
Now that doesn't work for a lot of people,
Right, right.
because why do I want to take my hands off my property?
Right. Yeah.
So there's a give and there's a take.
Okay, but that's when you need to sit
There's
down
a,
have
and
that
that's why you would need to
conversation.
talk to an attorney to determine which is really better.
Okay.
And then also, and I'll just throw it in, and I'm not sure if I'm going to talk about it again, but you know, if I do, I do. Irrevocable, there's two reasons for it, right? One is because you don't have a lot of money and you are anticipating that you're going to have to try to qualify for Medicaid, right?
Okay.
The other is because you have more than enough money,
Okay.
and maybe $4 million. You know, I have a lot of assets, and so in Illinois, you have a $4 million estate tax exemption. So if you have more than $4 million, you may want to start thinking about different ways to take assets out of your estate, so that your estate isn't going to be taxed on all of those. But it's a complicated venture, right? Because once you put an asset into an irrevocable trust, you can't touch it anymore.
Oh. Okay.
So that is a big challenge. So that requires a whole other conversation.
Working on that
Yeah,
problem.
I got you.
Not yet.
I got you. Okay. So the land trust, it does avoid probate,
Okay.
and it also is a seamless transfer from the owner to whoever I want to gift it to.
Okay.
The challenge with it is that there are annual fees, right? So you're going to annually pay the Chicago Title or Marquette Bank, you know, to keep your property in trust. And they're not a whole lot of money, but that's today. And as we all know, we don't really know what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, so and the land trust companies can say this year it's 150, next year it's 750. Right? So it depends. And they have the ability to do that. So with the land trust, it's only for land. The fees are annually. It does avoid probate. And so it's pretty good, but it doesn't do anything for your jewelry or your finances. Okay? So if you want a more comprehensive tool, then we're talking about a living trust. Okay? And specifically, I'm talking about a revocable living trust today. Okay, so I'm talking about for the most people, you know, this kind of trust. Irrevocable is for a lot of people, but for most people, we're talking about revocable.
Okay.
Okay? With a living trust, it also avoids probate, but not just for land now. Now you can put everything you own in a living trust.
Okay.
The jewelry, the furniture, and you can also name your trust as the beneficiary of your bank account, your life insurance, and then some of your investments. So that when you pass away, all the money is funneled into one trust account. And then from that trust account, you can decide who gets what. And with a living trust, you can decide when they get it and how they get it. So here's an example. Let's say that I wanted to leave my grandson $20,000 when I pass away. Well, you know, hopefully it'll be 50 some years from now. But, you know, since we don't know, let's say next year. He doesn't know what to do with 20,000. He's only 2 years old. So he's brilliant. But he doesn't know what to do with 20,000. And so what I would need to do, excuse me, is say, okay, I want to leave him 20,000, but maybe buy him a little big wheel, you know, put my name on it, just from Yaya. But then I want you to set some money aside for his education.
Okay.
And I don't want that money just to sit in a regular non-interest bearing account.
Okay.
I want it to be in a high yield, you know, maybe investment account.
Okay.
Because he's young and he can risk it, right? So I could put stipulations on the money, and then indicate, okay, if he's doing well in school when he's in high school,
Okay.
go ahead and buy him a car.
All right.
Now, hopefully that 20,000 has appreciated, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And then when he's getting ready to go to college, give him something else.
Okay.
And then when he graduates from college, give him the balance.
Okay.
So
But
that's the
working with
win.
That attorney, I mean the accountant on other things that I wanted to do and working with you. Got
And
you.
that's where I'm
Okay.
saying it's not just working with one person; it is a
Got you.
group.
It's
Because you're going to
team.
talk about. You might say, "Well, I don't even have 20,000 right now,"
Right,
but if you're still alive, you can get it.
Come
Guess what?
on.
Yeah.
And so the question will be, well, how do I get it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will say, maybe not talk to me first. You go talk to a financial advisor.
Right.
Maybe you talk to your insurance agent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's good.
Right. All right. Amen. Amen. All right. So with the living trust, we talked about the flexibility. When now you can also say, you know, I don't want my daughter to share her funds with her new husband. Not that anybody would do that, right?
No, but you can be that specific.
They can be that specific. That's correct.
Wow.
That's correct. All right. So, and then one more thing that I would say as it relates to your living trust, and I'll just talk about incapacity one more time. Sometimes we do receive, you know, monies and we want to give it to somebody who is receiving a government needs-based benefit.
Okay.
And so instead of, as I mentioned before, giving it to them outright, because if you do give them money outright, it's going to interrupt their government benefit.
Yes.
Right. And so in your living trust, you'll say, if any of my beneficiaries have a government needs-based benefit that will interrupt if I give them this dollar figure, instead I want you to put this dollar figure into a special needs trust.
Oh.
And then from the special needs trust, transfer it over as they need it. So the living
Very
trust
good.
is a very comprehensive, very flexible entity that allows you to creatively provide for your family.
Oh man, that's good.
Okay? Amen.
That's very good.
And if you're anything like me, visuals help for me.
Yes.
So here's a visual that shows you. You can name your trust as the beneficiary with respect to your stocks. You can name your trust as a beneficiary with a vehicle, your mutual funds, personal property, you know, retirement accounts to some extent. You don't want to do it on a lot of your qualified retirement accounts, and that's another discussion. Life insurance, business interests, and of course your home. When you have a living trust, instead of hiring a Marquette Bank or Chicago Title to serve as your trustee, you are your own trustee. So you don't have to pay yourself an annual fee or any fee,
Right.
right? So, and it's not just for land, it's for everything. So let me go in a little bit more as to how it works. Go into a little bit more detail. So, first, there's a trustee. Whether that trustee is a hired trustee or you. You then are in authority or have authority over the items that are within your trust. And within your trust, you could have money, you could have property like real estate, you could have motorcycles, you could have any property, jewelry, you know, classic vehicles, and investments. You can have all of that in your trust. And then in your trust agreement, you identify who you want to receive those things when you pass away. So the little people at the bottom, you know, are the beneficiaries. And they could be adults, they could be children. These are discretionary beneficiaries, and you have the discretion on who gets what. Does that visual help a little bit?
It does.
Yes.
Can beneficiaries, can they be, I'm just asking in general, but can they also be animals and things? This is where people start doing those other things?
That is so something that you said, yes.
Okay.
Because there are pet trusts.
Right.
I mean, absolutely. And there are some people, you know, who say, okay, I just want to set aside a bank account for my pet, and I want the trustee to take the money and take care of my pet.
And pay it, yeah.
There are other people who say, I want my pet to own the house,
What?
and whoever's going to take care of my pet gets to live in the house.
And can you also do your church and your things? Those can also be that?
Absolutely, you can. And so,
Church members, y'all,
Yeah.
you better be on. That's the word, Dan. You done came to the. You better be there. No, I'm just kidding.
absolutely, you can.
Okay.
And so, on the individual level, most definitely.
Okay.
You can say, you know, when I pass away, I want my life insurance policy to go to my church. I want $10,000 from my savings account to go to my church, right? And then your church may or may not have established an endowment fund, but as we all know, churches are businesses and we need money to run, right?
Okay,
And so
alright.
you would be able to determine if it's a large dollar amount. You could even say, I want this to be specifically used for X, Y, or Z,
Okay.
right? Or you could just make a general gift.
Okay.
So absolutely, you can name your church. You could name another charity.
Okay.
You know, certainly doesn't have to be a person. Good.
No.
All right. So now people say, okay, great. That sounds awesome. All right. But I've already added my daughter to my account. I don't need to do anything, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. They do.
Or I've already added my daughter to my house. I don't need to do anything, right? I am not a huge fan of adding people to your stuff because I know it's easier. I trust my daughter. She can go take the money out or whatever. But what if on the way to the bank, my daughter gets into a car accident and somebody gets hurt and she was the cause of it? And now they're going to sue her. And they're going to attach any asset that is attached to her name.
Okay.
And guess what? I added her to my account. So now my account can also be linked.
Oh.
I put her on my house. Unfortunately, she had a catastrophic accident and killed somebody. And the insurance didn't cover it all. And so now they want to place a lien on my house. So I am not a huge proponent of putting people on your account, putting people on your home. Another reason, especially for the home, is that if I bought my house 20 years ago, and let's say I paid $100,000 for it, when I pass away, let's say it's worth $700,000. Well, if I put my daughter on my house right now, she's going to start at the $100,000 level. And so she's going to have to pay capital gains taxes on the appreciation. Whereas if she inherited it from me, and when I pass away, it's worth $700,000. She starts at $700,000
Right.
as it relates to basis.
Right.
Okay. And that's where you start talking to your accountants, right, to make sure you fully understand that concept.
Okay.
But legally, adding someone to your property also means you're adding liability. You're adding vulnerability. Okay.
That's good.
So I'm not a fan of that. I am, though, a fan of pre-burial or cremation payments. Now, we don't like to think about death. And we all believe in God. Everybody in here, I know we do. And I know we believe in heaven and all of that. I get it. But some people start freaking out when it really rubber hits the road. So just imagine, let's say I had a really good relationship with my mom. I loved her, right? And when she passes away, I want everybody to know I loved my mom. So I'm going to spend that last $10,000 that I have to make sure that this one day, everybody knows I love my mom. Right? And guess what? People in that kind of business, I'm not going to say they're taking advantage of you because I'm not saying that at all. Right?
Right.
But if they can get $100 versus $50,
Yeah. Why wouldn't I?
why wouldn't it? Because you're all emotional.
Yeah. Gotta have the biggest roses. Yeah. Had to. Yeah.
And so if you already prepaid,
All right.
it's already set. Now they can come to your funeral and just grieve and not have to pass the plate and not have to figure out how I'm not going to pay for that because I paid for this.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
And two, if you prepay, they'll put in an account that has interest.
Boom.
So over the years, even though this might cost $50, over the years before you pass, it'll be $100. It's already covered.
There you go.
Yeah,
That, I mean, so
that
yes.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did that.
Okay.
I've done that.
Okay. And so it makes sense. And so the community aspect, you know, talking to each other is also really important. And that's one thing that we don't do. How many times have you gone to a family reunion and you guys were talking about estate planning?
Never.
No.
We just talked
Right?
about that this morning. Yep.
We should do that.
Yeah.
We should do
Second time
that.
we heard that in like an hour.
Just do it, right? And one of the challenges, and I'm kind of off script a little bit, but you know, one of the challenges is because we don't want anybody to know what we don't know.
Right. Right.
And we don't want anybody to know what we don't have.
Right.
Right? But in real life, most of us did not grow up rich.
No?
In real life, most of us were trying to figure out how to survive.
Yes, yes.
Not a lot of us grew up in environments where we were just thriving. We weren't worried about money. Our parents weren't worried about money. You know, we were talking about, hey, what's the difference between a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA? That wasn't happening. We were talking about, you got something on the electric bill? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so it's okay for us not to know.
Right.
I want to put away that stigma, right, that you should know. Nah, you might not know because nobody ever told you, but I bet you have a whole lot of common sense in other areas.
Right.
And so let's just pull it all together. Let's get rid of the pretense. No, I don't know everything and you don't either.
Right.
Let's try to figure it out together so that we can move forward together.
Right. That's good.
Okay? All right. I'm going to get back on script.
Right,
All
that's
right.
good.
All right. So I talked about what the tools are as it relates to transferring your assets upon your death. Now let me just spend just a couple more minutes on, while I'm here, I want to make sure that the person I put in place can speak for me if I can't speak for myself. Those are called powers of attorneys, right? Because you don't want to have a situation where you're at the hospital, and let's say you have 2 children, and you are in a position where the doctor has indicated that you have an irreversible or incurable illness or disease, and they believe your death is imminent. One child says, Mama would not want to live like this. Let's stop it. And the other child says, you're going to kill my mom?
Right.
You're right. Yeah.
Who's the doctor supposed to listen to? Is that drama or, right? So we don't want to do that. And think about it. The daughter who says Mama would not want to live like this, she still has to process, am I killing my mom? Is this what she would have wanted? And so when you're doing your healthcare powers of attorneys, you should make a decision. Does the quality of your life mean more to you than staying alive at all costs? Or does staying alive mean more to you than the quality of life? And there's no wrong answer. It's just your answer. And it's your opportunity to make sure that your loved ones don't have to figure it out.
Right.
Because that could cost them a lot of money in therapy.
Right.
Okay?
In prayer.
Right? And prayer. And burnt up relationships.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you have siblings who disagree with each other with respect to how you're taking care of Dad, what do you think it does to their relationship?
Yeah.
Because that goes deep. Yes, sir.
So you should tell your oldest or the child you trust what your wishes are.
Right.
You have the power of attorney. You know what I want, or I'm gonna come back and haunt you.
And I love how you started off by saying the oldest or the child. Because one of the things that we do is we say it has to be the oldest child.
That's right.
Or it has to be the oldest boy. Or really it should be the person who can do the job.
Amen.
Whether they're the youngest or the oldest or the middle or maybe not your child at all. Maybe it's your friend, maybe it's your nephew, maybe it's your cousin.
That's true.
Keeping it 100, okay? Because not everybody is equally equipped. And you don't want to choose somebody specifically with health care that, they get to the doctor and you know what you want. You've told them what you want, but they can't communicate because they're just too much involved with their feelings and emotions. So you have to be strong, as it relates to who is my fiduciary? Who is the person who can actually make sure that what I want happens? And then again, it's that level of 2. Because if that person can't do it, then I've named that second person. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, my husband, he only has 1 daughter. So if something had happened to me and to him, I mean, and she's in Arizona, is what I'm saying. Can he put her as the power of attorney, the second one under me?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they have airplanes and they have trains. And she probably will come see about her dad.
Right.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I mean, even if it's out of state, even though we do it in Illinois,
Yes.
she lives in Arizona, she can still be secondary if something happens to me.
Yes.
It has to take care. Okay.
Yes. And I like how you put it because if you're here, you're with him. Yes. If there's an emergency, it is better to choose somebody who is here.
Right.
So long as they're going to be responsible.
Right. Because we had an incident, and I contacted her afterwards and let her know what's going on, but we didn't have the power of attorney. So yeah.
And sometimes that's tricky, right?
Yes,
Because
yes.
sometimes you think you're okay because nobody's asking for it, but then they ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have it, it could be a consequence.
The hospital asked
Yes,
for it.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So very good. Okay. So for healthcare, yes, sir.
So this power of attorney is it old school? Like you have a physical piece of paper you got to carry around, or is it now in the cloud?
Great question, and it is a physical piece of paper that when you leave my office, I suggest that you go give it to your doctor so that they scan it in, and now they have it. So it is in the cloud, to that extent. So you don't have to always keep it in your pocket. But yeah, it is a physical document that has to be notarized and signed,
Oh, okay.
right? And you would give it to your healthcare providers so that they have it on file.
Oh, okay.
Good. All right.
Good. Didn't know that.
Very good. And so then the next one is the power of attorney for property. And so property is not just real estate, it's also personal property. That includes your bank accounts, your life insurance, talking to creditors, talking to the mortgage company, talking to Social Security because they didn't send the check on time, that kind of stuff, right? So powers of attorneys for property, also known as financial agents, right? They handle your financial affairs. And you definitely want to be clear about who that person is. It's not just the oldest. It's not just the boy.
All right.
It's the one who actually can handle your financial affairs.
Amen.
Okay? I'll leave it there because they do have a lot of responsibility. Okay. All right. So now let's get into some frequently asked questions. Now this is a whole lot of writing, and on the handout, it's a little bit cleaner, a little briefer. One of the questions that I have, what happens to the property of a deceased loved one where there is no estate planning? All right. So my first gut reaction is usually some chaos and drama.
Oh, yeah. A lot of
Right.
tears.
But let's say that, there's a house and there was no estate plan. And so when you pass away, who gets the house? Let's say you have 3 children and you have a new spouse who is not the father of the 3 children. In other words, a blended family.
Right. Yep.
Okay? So who gets the house? You haven't done anything. So
Illinois, is it the spouse first?
in Illinois, if you don't have anything, the spouse gets 50%
Okay.
and the children get 50%.
Okay.
Okay? So, one example, just last week I had someone in my office. Her and her husband had been married for 50 years. Husband had a child prior to the marriage. Child never came to the house. They didn't have a relationship with dad. Okay? Didn't have a relationship with stepmom.
Okay.
And so 50 years later, after wife has been paying mortgage and cooking and cleaning, they both been putting their money together, on the deed was just his name.
Right.
Right? Just his name. And so when he died, who gets the house? She gets 50%. And the kids get 50%. She is now 70 years old. Fixed income.
Yeah.
Can't afford to buy out the kid.
Right.
So what happens? The house needs to be sold. Now where can she live for the same amount that she was living in the house that she built for 50 years?
Yeah. And don't have
Because
a
that mortgage had been
relationship.
paid. All she was doing now
Yeah.
was paying taxes and insurance.
Yeah.
This is real life.
That is real life.
So in Illinois, if you don't do anything, that could happen.
Yeah.
Just an example. And so, if you do have children and no spouse, then the children receive it. If you have a spouse and no children, the spouse receives it. And if you don't have any, the state receives it. Okay? And so you want to put a plan together. That's all I'm saying. All right. That's one.
Quick question on that
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
If the child inherits the house, and the owner was a senior, if there's no mortgage or anything, the property taxes then have to be put into the child's name. Okay, so you don't get like the senior benefits or anything of the taxes.
No, and that's
or
a
anything.
great question. No, you do not.
Okay.
but you still would get a homeowner exemption if you lived in the property.
Okay, still get that.
Yes, and so that's another and we don't even do that, right? We just
Right.
like let our kids inherit the property without doing it properly.
Right.
And so they're living in a house where the taxes are crazy
Right.
because they don't have any ownership. They haven't taken that next level of creating a deed that transfers the
Yeah.
deceased person's interest to them.
Right.
And so the deceased person had a tax exemption, but they're gone.
Yep.
Taxes
Yeah.
went up, and now you're still there.
Yep.
Had you done it correctly, you could receive the tax exemption.
Absolutely.
Maybe not the senior exemption,
Yeah.
but certainly the homeowner exemption. And believe it or not, there are some seniors who inherit property. Their parents are 90 years old, and they're 70 years old, and they could absolutely. Yeah. So just
Knowledge
doing
is
your
power.
homework is important. Did you have a question too?
No.
No. Oh, okay. All right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Good. This is
Knowledge
good.
is power.
Excellent. Here's another question. What is the most cost-effective way to save money and protect my heirs' rights to property in the event of my death? It depends. I wish I had a black and white. I don't. Because not every person is the same. So not every married couple is the same. Not every family is the same. It depends. Some of us have homes. Some of us do not. Some of us have part owner in a business. Some of us do not. Some of us have 3 children. Some of us have 7. So some of us have special needs children. Some of us don't. Some of us get along with our spouse. Some of us are on our way to getting divorced. I know we're in the church, but sometimes real life happens. Okay, and so it depends. So what I did was I gave you another handout. It's like an analysis, right? And so you can kind of see, where do you fit in? Am I someone who maybe has 1 child and I have 1 piece of real estate and I don't have a whole lot of savings or that kind of stuff, and so maybe a transfer on death instrument would be great. Because maybe I do have a lot of clothes and stuff, but I don't care who gets that. Or maybe I have great grandma's elephant collection.
Right.
And I want to make sure that her elephant collection goes to my family. And I know that out of my 3 children, only 1 of them really wants it. Right? And so I don't want to leave it to all my kids.
Right.
I want to leave it to her.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So you get an opportunity to determine that. So maybe you do need a will along with your transfer on death instrument. Or maybe you have 3 or 4 children and you're afraid that in the event I leave this house to 1, the other 2 are going to be upset. Or if I leave it to 3, they're never going to agree and the house is going to go into disrepair.
Right.
So there's a lot of different answers to that question. So it depends. So you want to take a look at that analysis and determine what works best for you. And really, sitting down, speaking to professionals will help you develop your strategy. Because knowledge truly is power, and none of us know everything.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Okay, here's another one. Why do homeowners typically put off estate planning in your experience? Well, I'm going to ask you guys. And I'm not going to ask you if you have your own estate planning. I'm just going to ask you, do you know people who don't? And if they don't, why do you think they don't?
Because you gotta be rich to do it.
Okay.
It's for rich people.
Okay. Anybody? Yeah.
Trying to find an attorney you can trust.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. Anybody else?
Some people feel like if I'm dead, I could care less what they do.
That's
Yeah.
That's
That
it.
is something. That's up to them.
Yeah.
That's
Selfish. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And sometimes it's just putting forth the effort.
Yes.
It seems consuming.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think too, sometimes it's reality check, and people don't want that reality check.
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes it's cost.
Sometimes it's cost. Yes. All of these reasons, and they're all valid. The one is a reality check. That one hits me hard because when you're thinking about what you have, for some it's like, I don't have as much as I thought I would at this age.
That's what
So now I'm, And then when you think about who you want to give it to, that could also be another.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my kid isn't doing what I want them to do. I don't want to leave them this money. Or, okay, I'm in this marriage. I don't know if I trust him enough.
I
or
know,
trust her
right?
enough. Real life can set in.
Yeah.
And so all those things happen. But I will tell you, even with all that, you are not going to be here forever.
Right.
And so you can either plan or not.
Uh-huh.
But you will not be here forever.
Right.
So all of those reasons are not valid enough to not do it. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. And then finally, how can an attorney help with the estate planning process? They can sit down and talk to you. Because I can guarantee you I've heard a whole lot.
Mm.
Sometimes too much. My husband can, attest. Sometimes I bring it home sometimes, I switch up the names and everything.
Right.
Protect the
But families are something.
Yeah.
Families can be something.
Yeah.
But I probably will look at it differently than you. So that when you come in and you're talking about your son that you really love and you're full of emotion, I don't know your son. I respect that relationship, but I don't have the same emotional connection to it. So I might be able to see different strategies that you haven't thought of. Right? I might be able to give you permission to say it's okay to name your daughter as the power of attorney for property, even though your son is the oldest.
Right.
I can tell you it's okay. So that kind of thing. So attorneys can help you put things into perspective. We can also give you referrals. So if you say, well, I don't even have any money right now, I can refer you to a financial advisor. I can refer you to an accountant. I can refer you to an insurance person. Do you know what I mean? So we are helpful. And it is a group. It is a team. So now I want you to ask me questions. If you have, because I do like that we were going through it and everything. But now we're at that point, that I would say, schedule your consultation. It doesn't have to be with me. I would love to work with you guys. And let me just say this: if we did work together, because I know this is kind of far, my office is in Homewood, so it's about an hour away. When we have estate planning consultations can be done over the phone or Zoom. But I prefer you to come to the office when you execute the document. Right? So you'll have to come at least one time. Just to let you know.
Okay.
But again, it doesn't have to be me.
Right.
It could be any attorney that you trust. And I know it's kind of tough because today's world is difficult. You don't know who to trust. But I would say interview your attorney. Ask them questions that you want to know the answers to. And if they don't answer you in the way that you're comfortable with, it's okay. There's another million attorneys you can choose from. Right? But value your instinct, because that's real. And you will be sharing personal information, your finances, your relationships, right? So you have to choose somebody that you trust. Okay, yes.
So let's say you get the will or some of these documents, and so something happens to you, and your kids don't know you have one.
Yeah.
They don't know where to find
Good,
it.
yeah.
I mean, what happens? How does?
Great, yeah. So I always say you want to make sure that you keep your documents in a flood-proof, fire-proof safe or safety deposit box. And you always want to let your agents or your executors, your fiduciaries, the people who are going to be in control, you want them to know what you have. And you can either say, here's a full copy of everything, or I just want you to know, if it comes time, my stuff is over there. You don't need to read it, and I've heard everything. None of my kids need to know anything because I don't want them to know that I'm giving this person that and this person that. They don't need to know. I don't want to be around for that. And other people say, oh, no, I trust everybody implicitly. Like my mom, for example, she laid out, I'm going to tell you, we were at Thanksgiving, and she laid out a folder for all of her 4 children. Because she knew all 4 children.
All right.
And she basically said, now when I'm gone, this is what I want to happen. Do you have any questions? Now I know you have some questions. Let me answer those. Now do you have any questions? I mean, she went around so that when she did pass in 2020, and we were not able to have the memorial because of COVID, we had to wait until next year, right? Oh my goodness, could you imagine? That would have been, but we had to wait, right? She had everything mapped out, laid out, even to the point where she said, in the middle of the service, I want you to stand up and dance.
Oh, wow. Man,
That's
she's-
Praise
awesome.
God.
So
Yeah.
not only did she have the finances together, but she wanted the emotion.
Right.
Yeah.
My mother had a
Uplifted.
celebration.
Amen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it stood the test of time, right?
Yeah.
Because we couldn't do it in 2020. We had to
Right.
wait a whole year.
Right.
So I'm saying, when you put it together and you tell them where it is, you have the choice of giving them full information or just it's over there when you need it. In the event that it is a trust or a will or whatever it is, the attorney who created, and it should be an attorney, you should not pull this stuff off the web.
No chat. No chat.
You should not do it. Okay.
Right.
But the attorney's name is on it, right? And so your family can call that attorney.
Okay.
And even if they no longer do it, they'll have referrals.
Okay. Right.
You know, and any estate planning attorney can pick up where the other attorney left off. Does that answer it?
Yeah, that's the other thing is
Yeah.
what if the attorney dies?
Yeah, because we all will, right?
Right.
But any attorney can pick up where the other attorney left off.
Thank you for sharing that
Wonderful.
story too. I love that, and we had a workshop earlier today, but the same theme about taking opportunities at these family gatherings and bring up financial topics to our family. Stop letting those opportunities go. That's amazing that she had at Thanksgiving. She handed that folder.
Yes.
Before we continue
Yes.
on that, that's I don't want to take. Does somebody else have a question? I don't want to jump in. I did have a question though. Did you?
Well, I was just one of the things that I ran into as a pastor with people not knowing exactly what you want to do with their body. And some kids say you can't cremate, other kids say you can. Some kids want to make jewelry out of the people, and the other kids don't. And I've seen that fight happen in the funeral home, where they were arguing at the funeral. And another thing people were arguing about, he said he didn't want no fuss, he don't want no funeral. And other people say, well, we got to honor. So that needs to be in that document also.
Absolutely, and we do. We have
Right.
something called an Illinois appointment of disposition of remains, right?
Okay.
Which, do I want to be cremated or do I want to be buried?
Right.
If I want to be cremated, am I already a part of the National Cremation Society or something else? You know, if not, if I want to be buried, I want to be buried over here. I want this cemetery. I want this funeral home.
Right.
I want my ashes sprinkled in the mountains of Sedona.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you can be as specific as you want so that your family members don't have to fight about it or
Right.
guess about it.
Right.
Right.
We had my husband had an aunt. She was a teacher, and then she became a dean at a college. And when she passed away, she donated her body to science. And we were in awe because none of us knew.
Yes.
They had no ceremony or anything.
Yeah.
You know, they just all came together and had a dinner.
Yes.
And her body was donated to science. And we was just in awe about that because we didn't know you could do that.
Yes. And that's what I mean by the community. We don't sit around and talk about it.
Right.
But if we did, if we were at a family reunion
Right.
and we were talking about, hey, what's your burial plan?
Right. And we talk about that.
Right? When you do, you know?
Yeah, we get to family reunions, we don't talk about that.
Exactly. So I encourage everybody to take 30 minutes out of their family reunion,
No, you're right. You are
you know,
absolutely
and say,
right.
everybody have their estate plan together.
No, you're right.
Okay, you
Yeah.
know, and I will come to family reunions as well.
Alright.
Yes. But you know what I mean? That it's that
Yeah.
important.
Yeah,
Because at the
yeah.
end of the day, listen, we all work way too hard for what we have.
Come on, yeah.
And in the event we pass away and we leave it in disarray,
Right.
you know, it's kind of like if we have a whole lot of diamonds and we left it on
Right.
the floor.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, some of us are going to sift through to find the diamonds, but others are going to walk away thinking it's just dirt down there. I don't want to get involved. That's
Yeah.
too much chaos over there. And so now we're not able to build on our legacy. We're supposed to. We're supposed to leave an inheritance, right?
Amen.
That's stewardship. Okay, I'm not preaching. I'm just
Right.
myself.
Sound good.
But any other questions?
I do. If you leave items or tasks and things, and people don't want to do it, what happens?
Good. Very good. So remember I said you should think in levels of 2,
Oh, right. Okay. And what if the second person doesn't?
right?
want to do it?
You might see, in the event that everybody knows your family, right? And so there are some people that I say you definitely want levels of 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Oh, okay.
sometimes, right?
Wow.
Right?
Joni is at level of 4.
You never know because and again some people want a trust that is going to last for a long time over multiple years,
Okay.
off of multiple generations, right?
Right.
And so you will need to make sure that you
Okay.
have a list of people, you know, who are
Okay.
going to step in and make sure that that investment is still happening, right?
Okay. Okay.
But in the event that you do name someone and they say no after you've already passed away,
Right.
Because that's the other thing. you want to talk to them before you name them.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So that
right,
they
yeah,
know
yeah,
this is something I want you to do, and you get an idea that yes, they're going to, or no, they're. You might have a child who says, "I don't care what you say, I'm not going to cremate you.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
I am not going to do that."
That's true.
So if that's what you want, and that child says they're not going to do it, don't name that child.
yeah.
Okay, so you should communicate. Any event that you have named someone, initially they said yes, or you failed to talk to them beforehand, or things have changed and now they don't want to, then it will go down to the second person,
Okay.
right? In the event the second person says no, then the income beneficiaries, the people who are supposed to receive the stuff from your estate, can then come together and choose another trustee.
Okay.
Right. There's also mechanisms by which the court can be involved.
Oh.
You know, so that they can appoint somebody. There can also be a corporate fiduciary,
Okay.
right? So like a business who their job is to manage your affair.
Okay. So it's still gonna happen.
So yes.
Okay. It just okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Any other?
Nice, good.
Well, this is good. This is good. So I don't want to belabor the point because I want to, punch it and let it go, right? It's important.
No, this is good.
Get it done,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, none of us are going to get out of here alive.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amen.
And you're either going to exit having done your work or not
Yeah.
having done your work, leaving drama for your family. So
Right,
right.
your gift to your family is to let them mourn,
Mm-hmm.
but not be confused.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one more thing, because I've seen a case where a child wants to overrule the spouse. When the spouse has different things they want to do, and they think they should take over because that's their father, that's their mother.
Yes.
So you could put something like that in there, or get it beforehand.
Absolutely.
Right.
Critical. Like I've seen a whole lot, but that happens a whole lot in
Right.
blended families.
Right.
Right.
But it's
You
not
know.
the biological mother or spouse.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, and sometimes with biological too,
Right.
but a lot in blended families
Right.
where you are not taking care of my dad either way.
Right.
You know,
right.
you only married him because
Right.
you know you want him to, all that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And so if you have a power of attorney where you might have a power of attorney where you say, my spouse is just not going to be able to handle it. We've been married all this time, and when I pass away, he's going to
Yeah.
not be able to function.
Right.
So I don't want him to be my power of attorney. I want my child to be my power of attorney, right? Or vice versa.
Right.
I absolutely want my husband to be the power of attorney, and then my child, and then my other child, and then my other child. You know, and that document overrides.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they can't communicate with each other.
Absolutely,
I
they
mean,
should
even though,
communicate.
you have the power
Right.
of attorney, that does not mean that you should not communicate with the children.
Right,
To let
right.
them know what the wishes are, how you're
Absolutely.
doing things.
Right.
And absolutely. And then let me say this too. As it relates to communicating, families, I mean, for some families, when their loved one is in the hospital or when they die, they pull together.
Mm-hmm.
For some families, that's when it's the wild, wild.
Yeah.
That's a legal term. Okay? But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is when the emotions are on 10.
Right.
And so it is critical. If you have it in writing, they have to follow your instruction. If you don't have instruction, you're leaving it up to them.
Yes.
Well, I have enjoyed this.
This is
Yeah.
even don't turn off. No.
Well, all right.
We're working on our technical things here.
Okay.
No, but I want to say that thank you so much for your presentation.
Yes.
We are going to look forward to having you back and to do a deeper dive into some of these topics. But I thank you really for bringing the reality to it and those hard topics of like having that real conversation and those we are this is a church setting, but that reality, and Jesus even dealt with reality. He said he came for the sick. He didn't come for those that are well and are here. He came for those to meet us where we're at. So I hope that for those of us who joined us online, I hope that both of today's workshops have been very very impactful, very informational. I really want to thank you, Attorney Williams, for coming out, for donating your time. So powerful, really. I mean, and the whole purpose of today's workshops was really to talk about, speak to that generational wealth, and that's what you've done here today. You've really given us that knowledge to set that foundation for generational wealth for us. So thank you. And to your husband for traveling. Thank you for bringing her out. And little man, we appreciate you. So today, this will conclude today's session for Everlasting Word Church 2026 Financial Wealth Empowerment Series. We have one more next week that is understanding, what you should know before filing your taxes. Miss Neal will be here to speak on that. And we want to thank everybody for joining us today. Thank you. And now you may end the